John, not only did I not see the Vikings being 10-2 with Sam Darnold on his way to being the comeback player of the year, I didn't think by the time Kirk Cousins was ready to head to US Bank Stadium that he'd be in danger of losing his job. It's amazing how this quarterback transition has played out perfectly for the Vikings.
It is, Jim. I mean, yeah, obviously kind of you had questions about how Cousins was going to come back from the Achilles, but and there were points earlier this season where he had some big moments and you look like, okay, he was pulling himself back out of it, but more and more it looks like the Vikings were just incredibly correct to make the decision that they made. I don't think that there were a ton of people that were really kind of arguing that you have to keep Cousins, especially for what Atlanta gave him. But certainly there was concern about what the Vikings could do to bridge the gap between now and whenever JJ McCarthy was ready. And Sam Darnold has been terrific. Cousins, has looked like a quarterback coming off an Achilles injury, just like Aaron Rodgers has. And this is, it's unfolding beautifully because the Vikings are ultra competitive right now. They're in a great spot with Sam Darnold, and they're going to have a ton of cap space next offseason to keep kind of building around this team and going forward, which they wouldn't have had they retained Cousins.
Let's get more into the quarterbacks. So we have to talk a little bit about my favorite college quarterback, Michael Penix, as well as we talk about all this. Let's get into the defense, the victory, tight victory over Arizona, what the road ahead looks like for the Vikings now at 10-2. We're talking on Monday morning, the morning after they defeated the Arizona Cardinals. This is the Viking Update Show. He's John Krawczynski from The Athletic. I'm Jim Souhan from the Star Tribune. That's the way to listen to this show or any of our shows at talknorth.com. Please subscribe to your favorite podcast app. We have the best sports lineup in town. We have outdoor content, variety content. Please check it out. We love what we're doing here at talknorth.com. Also want to thank Aquarius Home Services. We're coming to you from the Aquarius Home Services studios. We also want to thank OnX Hunting app. We'll tell you more about that later. Natrium.com, Crazy Fresh, Twill in the Edina Galleria, and Chew Vision Institute. All right, let's just keep going on quarterbacks here for a little bit. Darnold had the really bad game in Jacksonville. He had a couple games in a row where he didn't look great. And once again, Kevin O'Connell and his staff have brought him out of it. Listen, it wasn't a great offensive performance yesterday by the team as a whole, but part of this was Aaron Jones fumbling twice, Aaron Jones not making a catch he usually makes in the corner of the end zone. And I actually kind of like the fact that Darnold led them back more than I would have liked it had he just been a front runner yesterday. Yeah, I mean, I do think it showed some resilience and certainly just kind of some resourcefulness for this offense and for Sam Darnold in particular to dig out of that hole that they were in and to overcome some of the adversity that they had faced, that was maybe out of Sam Darnold's control in some ways. I think that the thing that I was most impressed with was that he did not allow himself to spiral when things were not going well. And he didn't really try to force things. He didn't kind of all of a sudden turn into the reckless gunslinger that throws a bunch of interceptions while you're trying to bring a team back. He stayed within himself and he trusted that this Vikings offense was going to come through because the defense was going to keep them in the game. And so I think that in the past, we could have seen a Sam Darnold that got impatient, that said, I got to get it all back in one throw here, and then kind of just doubled down on the misery of it in that first half. And he did not do that. And so because of that, the Vikings were never truly buried, even though things were not looking good, kind of earlier in the game. And they just kept chipping away. And I think it is just kind of a testament both to Darnold and to Kevin O'Connell in the way that they have forged this relationship that just says, hang in there. Hang in there if things aren't going well in a game. Hang in there if, you've had a week or two where you keep turning the ball over. Just hang in there. We'll get through this together. And that's what happened against the Cardinals. And that last drive and the last couple of drives, I mean, he made throws that any quarterback would be jealous of. And so that's the upside with Sam Darnold that you have is if you can get him to lock in and he has the physical tools to make any throw that you need to make, and make it beautifully. And he did that when they needed it most, against the Cardinals. I've tried to watch Cousins games as much as possible, not being in that market. Seen entire games, some snippets. Of course, see the highlights and I read the stats. I have no idea and now listen, the Chargers are a very good defensive team. Harbaugh is a great coach. That was a team with defensive talent that was badly coached before, and now they're well coached and they're making plays all over the field. It still doesn't explain a veteran of Cousins' experience and accuracy just throwing the ball right at defenders. Do you have any idea what's going on with this guy right now?
I really don't, Jim. I mean, I certainly haven't stayed locked in on him week to week in terms of just watching him play and how he's moving and things like that. But I watched the highlights of the game yesterday, and what you could see, it felt like, was a bit of panic. And we have known Kirk Cousins to do that under duress in certain instances with the Vikings. It's just, there were so many times during his stay here where I did think that, hey, he gives you a chance to win. He's doing what he can with the pieces that he has and is playing pretty well. There were other times, though, when it was snowballing, when things were not going well, and Cousins sometimes did not have that ability to calm the waters, to just say, everyone, I got this. Let's relax. Let's keep playing. And there were times in his career, and I think it was yesterday was one of them, where it just goes from bad to worse to the worst of all. Some of those throws that he was making were indefensible. Just like, what are you doing? These are rookie type throws, in their reckless nature. And I don't know if that's a physical thing, if he's not moving around enough, so he's got to try and just use all arm, and that's the problem. I'm not sure exactly what's going on, but certainly, that was one of those Cousins games. And I think there've been a few of them this season where it's just like, he is not pulling us out of the tailspin. He's only going to make the tailspin even worse. And that's what happened in that game. And I'm sure Vikings fans and the Vikings defense is licking its chops and seeing if they can put him in those same positions again next week.
The Vikings' decision to let him walk and to draft McCarthy and sign Darnold looks brilliant right now. I will say, at the time, I was uneasy about it because I didn't think they could do this. I didn't think they could either get McCarthy up to speed right away, or a quarterback like McCarthy up to speed right away. I also didn't think they could find somebody on the trash heap that they could turn into a winner. Also, what really made me question the move at the time. Now, listen, once we saw what Atlanta was paying him, then we also went, okay, just go. Whatever you think of Cousins, whether you love him or hate him, just go. You're not going to pay him that. You shouldn't pay him that much money at this point of his career. It made the decision very obvious. I will remind people of a couple things. Number one, O'Connell wanted him back. O'Connell did want him back. Yes. He was disappointed when he left. Number two, O'Connell and Kwesi were entering a prove-it season in terms of earning a new contract, and nobody knew it could work out this well. I mean, Sam Darnold could, if Sam Darnold had not responded to coaching the way he had, we'd be looking, the whole conversation this season would be, should you even bring either or both O'Connell and Kwesi back?
Yeah, absolutely. And I honestly thought, Jim, when I had a little bit of the same uneasiness in terms of what is their plan once Cousins left. But I also said that, hey, this is the right thing to do. I just anticipated that this year was going to be some sort of a gap year.
Yep.
Whether it was McCarthy or not, I kind of anticipated that, hey, okay, you're resetting the books here. You have Sam Darnold coming in. You're going to win 5, 6, 7 games. You're going to get another solid draft pick in the first round. And then you sort of emerge from your 1-year hiatus with a quarterback that you feel good about, and more cap space, better weapons around him, all of those things. And then in 2025, you make the run and you get back into it. Even if that would have been the case, Jim, I think that would have been okay. I don't think there would have been anything wrong with that. You're right. It would have tossed O'Connell and Kwesi's future into the balance. It would have made it a lot harder, I think, to evaluate if you have the right guys in place here for the long haul, all of those things. But I thought that was a sound plan to go forward. Now, certainly I didn't anticipate Darnold really being a very, very good quarterback and them being 10-2. Like that, this is the best of both worlds for them, and the way that they have kind of reconstructed this team on the fly, both offensively and defensively, and have them in the mix. So that's great. The one thing that I do want to say, Jim, about Cousins is I do think this week, especially coming off of the game that he had on Sunday, especially with Sam Darnold playing as well as he is, and the 10-2, there's going to be a natural inclination for fans, for, people that just kind of like, kind of laugh at Cousins and just like, yeah, we dropped the dead weight and now we're going forward. I still have a great appreciation for what Kirk Cousins did here. He did not win the big one. He didn't, he had moments where you wanted to tear your hair out. But I think overall, and especially in the last couple of seasons before his injury, especially, I think that he did a good job of changing his game to kind of meet what Kevin O'Connell wanted, to kind of, sacrifice a little bit and adapt to the surroundings where he was really stubborn earlier in his career. And I think he became a really good quarterback who represented himself and his family well here. And, I hope that, I hope he doesn't get booed on Sunday is what I would say. I just think that, he had a solid run that was unspectacular and did not, he didn't win the big one, but he also did a lot of good things. And I think he gave his all to this franchise for however long he was here. I have a lot of respect for that on the way out. And so I guess we'll see what happens coming in on Sunday, but this is not, in my estimation, like this highly disappointing, big bust of a signing that was an anvil around their necks. He certainly had limitations, but I think he did some really good things here too.
I mean, he played about as well as you could have hoped when they signed him overall. Mm-hmm. And he didn't he didn't transform himself into somebody who's going to take you to a championship or win a multiple playoff games any individual year. He just did the job. He played well, so I just have no emotions about him one way or another.
I think that's fair. Yep.
All right, let's get to another very important position for this team. But first, we want to let you know about one of our newer sponsors, OnX Hunt. Deer hunting season is here, and it's time to own your odds with OnX Hunt, the GPS hunting app trusted by millions of hunters. With Hunt app, you'll have access to nationwide public and private land ownership information, waypoints, tracks, and much more, all at your fingertips. Go to nxmaps.com/hunt, onxmaps.com/hunt to sign up today. Also want to let you know that I keep having friends who hear about Natrium call me up, email me, text me, and ask, "Hey, is it really that good? Should I try it out?" And I keep saying yes. I only sponsor things that I believe in, that I try myself, that I use myself. I spend my own money with Natrium. They don't send me free stuff, and I keep buying it. I personally use it mostly for sleep and relaxation, but I have friends who use it for stress. They use it because they'd like to kind of have that party feeling on any given evening without all the calories and the potential hangover. Some people just like the drinks because they taste great. It's amazing how many different drinks they have. So I'm just going to keep it simple here. These are healthy, very few ingredients, low calorie for the most part, but there's such a wide variety of stuff. You have to go to a Natrium store or a wildflower shop. I have 2 wildflower shops within walking distance to me, and see everything for yourself in person, because there are so many options, and you need their expertise to take you through what's best for you, what exactly you're looking for, whether you want THC, CBD, whether you want liquid, dip, candy, gummy, whatever it may be, balms for your joints. There's so many varieties. You really need the expert help. Once you figure out what you like, then you go to natrium.com and just order up refills, which is what I'm doing. But go to one of the stores. You'll enjoy the experience. They're beautiful stores with people with great expertise working there. And then you can find out exactly what will help you the most. Thanks also to Crazy Fresh. And this is another instance of me using a product that I love. They deliver me protein salads that are basically meals. You pop the top off and everything's there. Fresh cut vegetables that are very fresh cut fruits that are very fresh. They're already sliced up. You don't have to do any work. What I really like about it is you're not going to have that guilty feeling because you went out and bought all these fresh produce things and they end up in the back of your refrigerator and you just end up throwing them out. This is all meal or snack or bite-sized stuff. It's going to fit into your schedule. It's going to save you time. It's going to keep you healthy. Also, they have golden tickets in some of their packaging. First golden ticket winner this year went to the Vikings-Packers game at Lambeau. Second ticket is out there, and somebody has won. We'll tell you more about that when we know more about it. But check it out. Crazy fresh. I highly recommend it. Now let's get to cornerbacks, John. Stephon Gilmore. I started taking this team seriously when they signed Stephon Gilmore. I was like, okay, this is not a gap year. They're actually going to try to win this year. They signed Gilmore to a 1-year deal. This wasn't them building toward 25. It was a sign to me they thought they could actually be competitive this year. And, of course, Gilmore has helped make it happen. He hurts his hamstring on Sunday. They've already gotten rid of Caleb Evans. Fabian Moreau looked overmatched. What's your level of concern in the secondary right now?
Yeah, I mean, it is a bit of a concern for sure. I mean, especially you hate to see any soft tissue injuries with cornerbacks who are a little bit older like Stephon Gilmore. So, I do think from what it sounds like, they were playing it a little bit safe with him, in that game and not putting him back out there, which is, I think, the right move to make. But yes, I think going forward, whether it misses a little bit of time or even if he doesn't, Jim, you do have, if you're looking at things that can hold this team back, that can prevent them from taking those next big steps that they want to take, certainly the depth at cornerback, and the quality at cornerback behind their starters is a concern. And when you think about what you're going to have to face in, potentially in the playoffs or certainly down the stretch in terms of receivers and, high flying offenses and things like that, there's going to be real challenges on this defense. And I do think that there were some concerns in the Cardinals game, even in the second half about, the way that Trey McBride was having his way with things, and the way that offense was moving the ball, on the Vikings defense. That was a problem. But if you take Gilmore out for any stretch of time, how they hold down the fort without him is going to be, I think, a real challenge. Maybe not quite as much this week, even though, Drake London's a really good player. But I think going forward down the stretch, like there's going to be some real offenses that they have to face that are going to be hard to stay on top of if Gilmore is diminished even a little bit. And certainly if he's out.
Yes. And it's been such a stark contrast. They just for years were trying to draft and develop young cornerbacks, and it just wasn't working. Caleb Evans, at some points, it looked like Caleb Evans had the chance to be in their best young cornerback, and now he's not even with the team anymore. Andrew Booth, they cut. We could go on and on. There are a lot of corners they ended up cutting. And, once again, the success they've had adding veteran free agents who immediately made an impact, immediately fit in and played with great cohesiveness with the people around them. Gilmore is one of the great examples of that. And he goes, all of a sudden, you go from, okay, is Murphy good enough to be a number one corner? Is Griffin good enough to be a number two corner? And all of a sudden, Gilmore comes in, and they don't have to be those guys. The domino effect of having Gilmore in the lineup has been dramatic. And the defense has been great so far. I'm not sure they have the depth to withstand something like this. And you go back to, hey, when Brian Cashman was hurt, their defense didn't look as good. As good as the defense is, I'm not sure they have much depth.
Yeah, that's the issue is like, it was signing Gilmore is very much like the Twins, God forbid, signing a number one starter in their rotation, because prior to or before it, they didn't have a number one starter. And so if, Griffin is your ace, that's not good enough on a team. But if you sign Gilmore and then he's at the top and then Griffin is your number two and Murphy is your number three, like all of a sudden those pieces fit a little bit more and they make a little bit more sense. And so, it was still a group that had question marks, even after the Stephon Gilmore signing, but you felt like everyone was being asked to do what they were capable of doing. And so when you remove Gilmore from that mix again, and like you said, like Evans is no longer here, and so having to recover from that is going to be really challenging, because if Gilmore is out, now you move Griffin and Murphy up, a slot on the pecking order. And, I like Murphy, but yeah, I don't trust him to be on the outside tracking the best receivers all of the time, things like that. And so I think that it would be interesting to see what Brian Flores does in terms of, does he even ratchet up the blitzing and the pressure even more to try and take some of the load off of the shoulders of the defensive backs, because you're going to have to get pressure on the quarterback and make them throw quickly. Otherwise, if you're asking these guys to cover down the field for any stretch of time, that's playing with fire.
No doubt. All right, let's talk about Aaron Jones, and let's talk big picture here. First, I want to let you know, I just went on vacation, and I found, I've talked about it before, but the clothing I buy at 12 that is really nice looking, even the dressy stuff, and has that athletic fabric woven in, is kind of amazing to use. That's really all I wore on vacation. In particular, Brax pants. Now, I've been buying Brax for kind of like their chinos, they're just a nice casual pant that you can wear with a t-shirt, or you can dress up if you want. Brax, Scott Dayton, this is about Twill in the Edina Galleria, Twill by Scott Dayton in the Edina Galleria. I've known Scott for years now. He's been a friend. He's been a great supporter of this network. The Brax pants I bought recently, they're dress pants. They look as nice as any pants I've ever owned, and they're more comfortable than my sweatpants. I don't know. I'm kind of amazed by this technology. I already wear a lot of Peter Millar and Johnny O stuff that, again, it looks really nice, but it feels like a T-shirt. Now I'm finding these new Brax pants that Scott sold me the other day. Again, most comfortable, but I could sleep in them happily. It's amazing how in my life I've gone from being a kid who hated dressing up because anything my parents put on me that looked nice or they thought looked nice was incredibly uncomfortable, to now my most comfortable clothing is also my nicest looking clothing. And that's thanks to Scott Dayton, and because he knows what brands to find. Brax, Johnny Miller, Peter Millar, Alden, just go out there. Go to Twill in the Edina Galleria. Check it out. It's the completely no pressure shopping experience. The people there are very nice. They've been there forever. They're experts. They're also very relaxed. They are happy to answer any of your questions. They will not bug you. And it's a compact enough shop that you're just going to go in there. You're going to immediately see what you want, see what section you want. I just highly recommend going to Twill in the Edina Galleria. Now, John, tell us about True Vision Institute.
True Vision Institute in Bloomington. I've been telling you about it for months now. It has changed my life. I went there in the summer right after the Timberwolves were in the playoffs. I had LASIK surgery, and everything about just the day-to-day life without contacts and glasses has been so great. Just not having to plop those contacts in, not having to spend hundreds of dollars every year or two on a new prescription, on new styles of glasses, all of those things. My life is just so much easier, so much better right now with the LASIK surgery. The people at True Vision are the best in the world to deal with. They are so welcoming. They are so easy to work with. They're very encouraging and help you through your vision correction journey like I did. And then once you get into the room to have the surgery, Dr. Chu is just wonderful. Like, he is with you the whole way. He's talking you through things. He is helping you on the back end of it to make sure that all of the surgery is good and everything works out great. And I've been seeing perfectly ever since the surgery. I cannot recommend it enough. If you go to chuvision.com, CHUvision.com, to start a consultation, they will get you in there. They will take you through all of the tests and make sure that they find the right vision correction option for you. It's very no pressure. It's very easy to navigate and to go through. I can't recommend it enough. I wish I would have done it 10 years ago. So go to chuvision.com and then set up your appointment to go down to True Vision Institute in Bloomington. Tell them the John Krawczynski Show sent you.
What's your level of concerns about Aaron Jones right now?
I've been grappling with it, Jim, because it's clear right now that he's got something going on that is causing him to just not have the same feel for the ball that he normally has. You could tell that it was there right away at the start of the game, where it looked like he had never held a football before, just the way that it was going, the way that it was popping out. He didn't make the one catch that he normally makes. And yet he is so important to what they do that I think they have to just keep going to him. I want to see very much Kevin O'Connell kind of lean on Aaron Jones and express the faith in him the same way that he did Sam Darnold when Darnold was going through his funk earlier this season. I think Kevin O'Connell is excellent at this sort of player relationship with the coach in terms of breathing confidence into a player and making sure that they know that that he has their back, and that can help pull them out of whatever funk they're in, because I do think he is in some kind of a funk, whether it's mental, whether it's physical. Something is going on that is throwing him off of his game. And I do think it's incredibly important over these next, whatever it is, over this next month, going into the playoffs, for the Vikings to rediscover the real Aaron Jones. Without him, they are a totally different offense. They are not as dangerous. They are not as reliable. And so they need to have him as a big part of this. And so whatever it takes to get him back on track, they have to do it. But yes, I am concerned because in the moment here, he just does not look comfortable out there.
All right, let's go big picture. For all the concerns every NFL team has on a weekly basis, injury, failure, unexpected plays, whatever, we got to go big picture. This team is 10-2. I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised at all if they're 12-2 heading into 3 difficult games: at Seattle, Green Bay, at Detroit. Detroit has some difficult games coming up, including Thursday against Green Bay, a game they very well could lose. They've had some key defensive injuries, and the Packers might be good enough to exploit those. There's a real chance here the Vikings could win this division. But what's your level of confidence in that happening?
Yeah, I there is a real chance. It's so funny, Jim, because I've just kind of been processing this whole thing with the strong belief that the Vikings are a cut below the Detroit Lions. I really do believe that. I think Detroit is a much better, a noticeably better team than the Vikings, which is not saying much because I think Detroit is the best team in the NFL. So, but that said, they're a game behind them. They are right in it. They almost beat the Lions when they played head to head. It was a great battle. And so maybe I'm sort of overstating the gap between the Lions and Vikings. I guess when I look at it, I still just the Vikings were a little wobbly through that 3-game soft spot against the Cardinals. They were down in a bad spot. They rallied to win. So they haven't been winning ultra convincingly lately. And so maybe that's kind of tempering my expectations for them just a little bit. But then you look at their overall point differential, you look at where they rank from a defensive standpoint, you look at the offense coming together and Hawkinson getting back, and they should be considered a very dangerous team. And I think they are. I just don't think I'm ready to say that I'm confident that they're going to leapfrog the Lions, especially if it comes down to that game in Detroit on the last game of the season. But we've talked about a little bit, the simple fact that they are in this conversation and that they very much belong in this conversation is, just a remarkable thing considering how the season started.
No doubt about it. And let's also remember, as logical as everything you just said is, it's a weird sport, and the Vikings have already fooled us. And I do think the Lions, they did a remarkable job of surviving the Hutchinson injury. Now they're having some more injuries on the defensive side of the ball. I just wonder at what point do they have to start winning every game by a shootout instead of really kind of manhandling opponents. I'll also say I think the top 3 teams in the NFC right now, the way I'd rank them, Eagles, Lions, Vikings, with the Vikings, the eye test that tells you the Lions are a lot better than the Vikings, but it was a 2-point game with the Vikings have a chance to win when they played here. So I just wonder if those 2 teams might be a little closer than the eyeball tells us.
So you have Eagles as the best team.
I think they've passed the Lions. Because
okay.
I just don't have as much. I think the Eagles have gone from having a concerning defense and a concerning culture to figuring it out and now having a dominating defense with a great running back, a great 2-way quarterback, great receivers, excellent tight end, excellent offensive line, and their defense keeps getting better and better and better. I just think the Eagles scare me more now than the Lions do.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, it's not a bad not a bad case to make. I guess where I would put where I lean Lions is I trust Dan Campbell and that coaching staff and Ben Johnson and everyone that they have, Aaron Glenn, a little bit more than Sirianni and those guys. But certainly the Eagles are playing great right now, and absolutely deserve to be in the conversation. I'm just going to kind of go a little bit more with the team that's been, I think, the most consistent all season long in Detroit. Eagles certainly are on a heater now and really playing well. Earlier this season, we were wondering about them. So we'll see, but it's an interesting conversation to have for sure.
Let's just admit it, John. You've been an NFC North homer your entire life.
That's right. Exactly. I was a Barry Sanders kid way back in the day. And so there is something inside of me that just wants to see the Lions finally break through and win one. So we'll see if that happens or not.
I'm just glad that you finally have gotten over Tampa Bay leaving the vaunted NFC Central.
I mean, once they dropped the creamsicle uniforms, I was fine with them leaving. Yeah, so that's fine. Who needed it? Exactly.
I know. Good stuff, John. Also, please listen to the John Krawczynski show. John's very incisive show on the Timberwolves and what they're going through right now. But just check out TalkNorth.com. We have the best sports lineup in town. We have incredible people. We're going to be adding to our roster here soon, and we do appreciate you listening.